The Last Royal Note at Covent Garden, London, 1925. The Covent Garden Theatre gleamed like a jewel beneath London's Victorian arcades. It was a gala night celebrating the Queen's Jubilee. Ladies in satin gloves and gentlemen in tailcoats crossed the marble hall, crystal chandeliers casting flickers of candlelight. Among them stood a young man in a navy suit and snug beret. Pierre Durand, 17, future medical student, invited thanks to a friendship forged during a Paris-Calais train ride with the head of Crown Security. The evening's star, soprano Magdalena Bellini, was renowned for reaching the climax of Guglielmo Andrade's aria When Stars Fall with a power said to shatter glass. To keep electric bulbs from bursting, the theater had been lit solely by candles. The orchestra swelled, the choir soared, and the aria climbed toward its summit. One note, pure and possibly high, sliced through the air like a scalpel of crystal. A snap, a second, silence. The candles in the royal box extinguished. Darkness. Immediately, emergency candles were lit. Screams erupted. "The crown!" a court lady cried. "It's gone!" Doors slammed shut. No one in or out. As guards formed a cordon, Pierre stayed close to his friend, the security chief. The Queen, composed, said, "The instant the lights died, I felt the crown lifted from my head." Lord Ashcombe whispered, "No one saw a thing, Your Majesty." It was pitch black. Pierre frowned. Candles. Shards of glass glittered on the carpet. One perfect note. And darkness. "We assumed candles meant constant light," he murmured. "Indeed," the chief said under his breath. Pierre drew a steady breath. "Imagine I wore a glass eye," he began softly. "If it shattered mid-performance, I'd simply close my lids and pretend to sleep, hiding the ruin." The Queen looked at him, intrigued. "What are you trying to say?" Let's for a moment imagine that, at the height of a performance, the crown jewels, if made of flawless glass, were fractured by Bellini's high note. That would mean the candles were not extinguished to cover a theft, but to hide the shatter, to preserve the illusion. Let's be honest, no one could extinguish a candle by hand without being noticed, unless there was a greater reason. In my view, the candles were extinguished deliberately. The Queen's shoulders slackened. "During the Great War, we traded the true jewels for weapons and provisions," she whispered. "They fed soldiers, secured our sovereignty." Pierre bowed. "Your Majesty, the people value those who fight for them, even more so when done in silence. That choice demands more courage than 1,000 coronations." The Queen smiled, but it was a melancholic smile. "If this is revealed, the people may indeed admire me as a person, acknowledge my courage and the sacrifice. But beyond my figure, there's something greater, the spirit of the realm, and that must remain strong and intact. That is why the secret must remain hidden." She turned to Pierre. "Now that you know the secret of the British monarchy, I'm afraid you must." Pierre froze and thought quickly. Guards advanced. "With all due respect, there's no need for that. Your stance doesn't inspire fear in me, Your Majesty, but reverence. And with your permission, I would like to consider this a secret between friends, and a silence I will carry, not as a burden, but as a moral vow and a deeply personal allegiance." After a tense pause, she raised a gloved hand. "I shall consider." Near dawn, the royal entourage departed quietly. 2 guards escorted Pierre to the carriage. In his vest pocket lay a shard of emerald-rimmed glass, proof of what had shattered and of what must never be revealed. The end.